too many of you guys have an inconsistent jumper, but have good form. So in today's video, we're going to break down a few of those small mistakes that are making you have that inconsistent jump shot, even though your form looks good. Let's dive into it. So if we want a consistent jump shot, we have to aim to do less within our shot itself. Too many of you guys are doing this a little too much, which is causing you to be inconsistent when you start to speed up in your shot, when you step further away from the basket. So for those of you who have actually listened to their coach when they told you to make sure your elbows are super tucked in at the top of your shot, your form does look good. But what happens is when your elbow is over tucked, my hand has to follow. So now my hand is turned out this way. So now when I go to shoot, my elbow has to open up, and now my wrist can actually turn over the top and flick down, because we always want to try to have our fingers pointing straight down to the ground. We can't do that if our elbow is super tucked in, right? So if my elbow is tucked in at the top of my shot and it's over tucked, if I wanted to follow through, my finish will be more towards the side because of the direction of my elbow. If I want to make sure I can follow through straight towards the rim, I need to actually open my elbow up just a little bit, so now my wrist falls over the top, and now I can flick it with a firm wrist flick and follow through straight towards the rim. This is a small detail within your shot, but it is extremely important, because if we think about it in reverse, you would never open up your elbow and then sling it in just to make sure you shoot straight, right? So the same thing applies with it over tucked. We don't want to open up just to shoot it straight. We want to have a consistent and easy jump shot to be able to repeat. So we just want to be able to follow through straight towards the basket with no extra movement. When we have as little movement as possible, this is when we can be as consistent as possible, just because it's easier to repeat. So some of you might think this is such a small detail that you don't need to pay attention to, but actually this is extremely important, because if you think about it, the further we step back away from the rim when we're trying to increase our range, that means that we increase the distance from us to the rim. When we increase the distance, now that gives us more time to have the ball curve offline. We want to make sure the ball goes as straight as possible when we shoot. So when we're coming off our step back, so we're trying to increase our range, we need to make sure that ball is moving straight, and any extra deviation that we have to adjust for just makes that harder. So we always want to try to be as simple as possible. Now, all this information and all these details matter a lot, but what matters just as much is reps. So what I want you guys to do is take all this detail that we just went over, all this information, and then go watch our ultimate shooting workout, where we give you guys 300 reps. So now you guys can rep out 300 times all these small details and help lock in that perfect form. The second thing that is causing you guys to have that inconsistent jumper, even though your form does look good, is having an inconsistent ball path as you're lifting it up into your shot. So some of you guys like to get nice and low. Your hands are on the basketball as you're ready to shoot. You lift it up just a little bit nice and slow, but then you jut it through the rest of your shot and you speed it up. And now that's an inconsistent lift path within your shot. So that's gonna be harder to repeat. The further we step away, the more variations we get into with the dribble. Maybe we're trying to get into our step back, someone's pressuring us. It's hard to now go from slow then to fast. Some of you guys struggle because you lift the ball super fast, but then you have like a huge stop. So you slow that ball down a lot, and then you try to speed it up to the rest of your shot, right? So that looks like, for some of you, you guys like to drop down and then lift the ball at the same time. So what you're doing is you're lifting the ball up, but then you're dropping down. So you try to have to find that timing, but then you get a big pause at the top. So you've lifted it fast, but now you have to stop yourself and the ball and then try to go up. That's too hard to try to repeat over and over and over again. Can you make shots doing these things? Absolutely. But is it harder to be more consistent and make more shots in a row? Yes. The main thing we want to pay attention to is having that consistent lift speed as we're going through our shot, but also we want to try to move the ball fast as well. This will help you with that consistent jumper, but also increasing range as well. The one thing I want you guys to remember is that speed opens up flaws. So if you're not good at something, the faster you try to do it, the worse you're going to look. So you guys need to lock in your form first before you can start to add that speed portion. If you want a little bit more help locking in that form, then I want you guys to go down to the pinned comment below and grab our ultimate shooting checklist. So if you guys watch great shooters work out like Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, you guys will see how fast their ball moves, but how consistent they are with that same speed every single time. They might take a little bit longer before they get into their shot. So maybe they're doing a jab step and they're working on their pace, or maybe they're off the dribble or something. But when they get their hands on the ball and they're ready to lift within their shot, that ball moves and they don't slow it down and they don't speed speed it up within their shot. Once they get it going, they just flow through the rest of their shot. So the last small detail I want to dive into to help you guys become a more consistent shooter is your shooting lines. A lot of you guys have great form at the top. So you have your arm set, wrist is underneath the basketball. You guys know how to push through the middle, flick your wrist, don't have a guide hand flick, right? But for some reason down here, you guys have a bigger loop than what's necessary. So some of you guys have it and you push the ball out first before you go in to shoot. So now you got to pull the ball back, which creates a bigger loop this way. Some of you guys like to swing the ball to the side. So now you create a bigger loop there. So now when you get to your set point, you have to have a big stop because now you have to change the direction that the ball is moving. So if I'm swinging it this way, the ball has to create this loop to get back here. So now I have to stop it because now I want to shoot the ball straight. Same kind of thing if I'm pushing the ball out. I'm here, maybe I push the ball down to bring it back, or maybe I'm here, I push the ball out to bring it back like this. So the ball is going forward and then back, which is changing direction. We want to keep the same direction as much as possible so we can be as consistent as possible. We need this basketball to go up and out towards the rim. And the more we deviate off these lines of up and out, the harder it is to be consistent with the shot. So if I want the ball to go up, why would I want the ball to go to the side? Because now I have to straighten that back out at the top and then stop it so I can get the ball to go straight, right? I don't want to have to get the ball to go away from me because I just want the ball to go up. So if I'm here and I push the ball down, that's going away. Now I got to pull the ball back. I need the ball to go up and then straight to the rim. So I want to keep the ball kind of close to me. I don't want to be super close like this, but close enough to where I have a good amount of distance away, but I can just push the ball up. So now I can just flick on out. Once again, just like our previous mistakes, can we make shots if we have these issues? Absolutely. But it's not about making shots or missing shots. It's about how consistent are you when you're shooting. So if I go out there and I try to shoot 15 shots, does it take me 25 shots just to make 15? I want to be as consistent as possible and make more in a row faster. So one thing you need to know though is that there is no way to be perfect and move the ball in an exact straight line, but it's about the intent. So when we're facing this way, we don't want to move the ball out and then pull it back because that creates a big curve. We want to have a smaller curve. So we get nice and low, ball set. We just want to try to push it up to our set point and stay relatively close to our body. So we create that smaller little curve here and then we can just push up and out. Same thing we're facing towards the rim. We don't want to loop out this way, but this way we want to have that smaller curve. You'll see a lot with tilt shooters. We'll be facing to the side just a little bit. If they shoot more from their eyebrow area or the left or right side of their face, you'll see a small curve happen to get that ball here. It's small, it's not big. We don't want to be 10 toes to the rim, picking up the ball on our hip and then shifting the ball over here to the center of our face, because now that's a bigger curve that we have to shoot through, almost like we're shooting on that gap. We want to be able to just move the ball straight up and then be able to follow through. If we have that tilt, that small curve is okay relatively. We just don't want to get outside our shoulders, right? So if we're facing you, I don't want to lift the ball here. Now I'm outside my shoulders. I want to stay within my frame. So even if I have that tilt, if I lift the ball up within my frame and I have a small little curve at the top here just to get my wrist underneath, that's okay because I'm still within that frame.